Sophie's world flipped overnight after a now viral clip exploded across social media, showing her in a tense standoff that led to her getting kicked out of a WNBA game. The footage is sparking outrage, with fans flooding the comments in disbelief and demanding answers from the league. What exactly happened on that court? Was the ejection fair, or was Sophie targeted? As hashtags trend and fan support pours in, WNBA officials are staying quiet while speculation spreads like wildfire. With reputations and league image on the line, this viral moment is turning into a full-blown firestorm that no one saw coming.
During that game, starting with JC Sheldon hitting Caitlin Clark in the face, and then there was a little spat between the two of them, and then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere, shoves Caitlin Clark to the ground, and then later on in the game, there is the Sophie Cunningham hard foul on JC Sheldon, which turns into an entire brawl. Other players were involved. It got crazy. Sophie and JC were ejected. Allen was also.
Tensions boiled over as Caitlin Clark found herself at the center of a brewing storm. JC Sheldon landed a hard hit on Clark, no play, just pure contact. Before officials could even react, Marina Mabrey stepped in and shoved Clark again, escalating what had started as a tense moment into a full-blown confrontation. But just when it looked like Clark would be left to handle it alone, Sophie Cunningham charged in like a storm. She didn't hesitate, she got right in Sheldon's face, standing her ground with no fear. The crowd erupted. Sophie wasn't just defending a teammate, she was setting the tone for the entire season. The result? Both she and JC Sheldon were ejected. But the message was loud and clear. If you come for Clark, you'll answer Sophie. This wasn't just a scuffle, it was a statement.
Sophie Cunningham is not remotely scared, and she showed that last night. I'm not sure if her takedown of JC Sheldon was totally related to defending Caitlin Clark, but I am sure that this takedown with 46 seconds left to go in a game that they were up 16, 17, 18 points, the game was over, and she's tackling someone on a layup.
Jason Whitlock nailed it. Sophie Cunningham isn't just a spark plug, she's the enforcer Caitlin Clark didn't know she needed. When JC Sheldon got chippy last night, Sophie didn't back down for a second. That tussle, it wasn't just noise, it was a statement. Whitlock says this is the kind of edge that transforms Indiana from exciting to unstoppable. She's tough, unbothered, and completely committed to protecting her squad. This attitude, this fight, it's what postseason teams are made of. Sophie's got that championship DNA, and now the Fever have someone who sets the tone when things get gritty. Fans love it.
Definitely the W, especially if Sophie Cunningham is going to continue to fight people for messing with Caitlin Clark, because it feels like Caitlin Clark is going to get treated in a certain way in this league for a long time. She's not a rookie anymore, okay? She's already proved herself. She's won. And then there were some, ladies last night that were trying to go a little physical. Mm-hmm. And in last year, I think something we noticed, and I think a lot of people noticed, is when Caitlin would get bullied, nobody would do nothing.
That's right.
Nobody would do nothing. It was like, hey, they didn't know, like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening.
Pat McAfee kicked things off with the energy only he can bring. The ladies got physical, and Sophie wasn't having it. When Caitlin Clark took a hard hit, Sophie didn't flinch. She stepped in fast, and chaos followed. McAfee applauded her passion, saying this kind of fierce loyalty is what builds chemistry and wins games. The crowd went wild, the benches emptied, and the refs made a quick decision. Cunningham was tossed. But here's the thing, she didn't regret it. Not one bit. For McAfee and countless fans, Sophie's ejection wasn't about losing control, it was about setting a standard.
Clearly, when it comes to Caitlin Clark, there's some resentment, as I've articulated before. What people are missing, Monica, is I have no problem with it whatsoever. Okay, yes, there's resentment because, first of all, you're absolutely right. This is much ado about nothing. In the heat of competition, tempers flare. Last time I checked, women got tempers just like men do. Ain't no problem. Ain't no problem at all. Ain't no big deal at all. I love it, personally.
Stephen A. Smith isn't holding back. He suggests Caitlin Clark is facing resentment from players and fans alike, and he's not bothered by it. With his trademark candor, he argued that Clark's prominence and polarizing style naturally breed envy. She's different, he pointed out, and that stirs emotions. Stephen A. insists this isn't about unfair targeting, it's the reality of any household name in sports. He even added he has no issue with that, positioning himself as an observer, not a critic. In his eyes, if you step into the spotlight this bright, you should expect a few flares of backlash. Whether you agree or not, his stance cuts to the core of why this altercation feels bigger than just one game. It's a cultural flashpoint. Dave Rubin dropped a striking behind-the-scenes moment. He He, Clay Travis, and Aaron Wexler are peeling back the layers of Stephen A. Smith's comments. They show ESPN's Monica McNutt visibly taken aback as Stephen A. offered a provocative insight into the latest rough play against Caitlin Clark by the Connecticut Sun. Clay Travis adds a controversial twist. He believes part of the aggressive response stems from Clark's identity. She's white and straight, which he argues sets her apart culturally on a predominantly black and LGBTQ+ league. The trio questions whether her visibility is stirring tensions beyond just on-court dynamics. In their DMs, they suggest this isn't just competitive fire, it might be deeper, tapping into identity, bias, and what it means to be an outspoken player in today's WNBA.
And Sophie Cunningham is not scared of anybody. I think she's got a black belt and got a black belt as like a baby when she's 3, 4, 5 years old in Missouri. Sophie Cunningham, these little angry black women, and this is a group of little white girls on the Connecticut Sun, she's not scared of any of them. And so she snatched Jay Sheldon by the back of her hair to let the entire league know.
Just minutes before the altercation, Caitlin Clark was flat out targeted. This time, it was a hard body check that sent her stumbling, drawing gasps from the crowd. You could see it in real time. Clark was rattled. The refs hesitated, but Sophie Cunningham didn't. She saw the intent behind the play, saw her teammate take the hit, and instantly jumped into action. It wasn't a basketball play, it was a shot meant to intimidate, and Sophie wasn't letting it slide. That split-second moment proved just how much Caitlin has become a marked target, and why having someone like Sophie matters.
So this is what standing on business really looks like. Caitlin Clark got smacked in the face by Marina Mabrey, and then she flopped a little bit. But let's not gloss over the fact that she got completely rocked. And honestly, that's a badge of honor. You don't rough up bench players. That means she's that girl. And then Sophie Cunningham said, "Not on my watch," and body slammed Marina like she was defending her teammate's life insurance policy. Fun fact, she's a black belt in Taekwondo and used to kick field goals for the boys' high school football team. You can't make this shit up. And then people were crying for suspension, and the WNBA was like, nah, let them fight. It builds character. And that's exactly the energy the WNBA needs. And in case you missed it, Angel Reese got in on the action too, when she hit Kiki in the face. Yeah, wild day in the W, but at least the ratings went up.
A moment that sent shockwaves through the league unfolded. Sophie Cunningham made it crystal clear. She's not afraid of anyone, and she doesn't bluff. A certified black belt, Sophie's no stranger to physical confrontation, but what she did to JC Sheldon turned heads instantly. In the middle of the chaos, cameras caught her grabbing Sheldon by the back of the hair. Controlled, forceful, and unmistakably deliberate. She didn't swing wildly, she sent a message. The league saw it, the fans saw it, even the refs had to pause. Cunningham wasn't out for a fight, she was there to draw a line. You come for Caitlin Clark, you answer to her. It wasn't dirty, it was dominance. And it signaled something bigger. Indiana is done playing nice. Sophie's not just enforcing on the court, she's rewriting the tone of this team. And the rest of the WNBA, they just got put on notice.
Now, overnight, Sophie Cunningham is like the second biggest star in the WNBA. Her jerseys have sold out. Everybody loves her. And it's her very first season with Fever. And she's like the second biggest player in the WNBA now. All of the race lesbians are going to be super mad at her. They're going to be super mad. That is her right there taking Jackie Sheldon into a clinch. Imagine I can't get over it. You're Sheldon and you're going to step to a girl who's got a black belt in Taekwondo. Like, you deserve to have both your cheeks kicked, man. You know, I think Cunningham could take everybody on that bench. Someone was like, "Oh, well, man, it's a good thing that Mariana Mabrey didn't stand up." And I'm like, why? So she could get her ass kicked too? Like, what?
Sports analyst Ashley Neville summed it up perfectly. Caitlin got smacked, and Sophie went full MMA. The scuffle lit up social media, and for once, the WNBA felt electric. Fans weren't arguing over foul calls, they were energized. Neville pointed out what many are thinking. No suspensions, no walkbacks, just pure competitive fire. This wasn't drama, it was presence. Players stood tall, tensions flared, and the league finally felt like it had some bite. Neville says this is exactly what the WNBA needs. Unapologetic energy, real rivalries, and players who are willing to throw down for their teammates. The league just got interesting. Sophie Cunningham has officially arrived. Once seen as a tough role player, she's now being hailed as the second best player in the WNBA. And not just for her skills. After defending Caitlin Clark during a heated on-court clash, Sophie became an overnight sensation. Social media lit up with fans praising her boldness and loyalty. What sealed her superstar status wasn't just the scuffle, it was the message. She's not afraid to stand up for her teammates and take the heat. That energy is what makes champions. In a league hungry for rivalries, drama, and heroes, Sophie delivered all three in one night. Her fearlessness combined with elite-level talent has instantly made her a fan favorite and a nightmare for opponents. Sophie's not just playing the game, she's changing it. And if her recent performance is any sign, the WNBA just got a new face of fearless leadership. A reporter, Alexa Philippou, tweeted, Marina Mabrey's technical from last night's Feversung game has been upgraded to a flagrant 2, the league told ESPN. A flagrant 2 comes from a standard fine. Additionally, Sophie Cunningham was fined separately for her hard foul. With 46 secs to play, no players will be suspended. The league's decision to fine Marina Mabrey and Sophie Cunningham without issuing suspensions feels like a calculated middle ground. By upgrading Mabrey's foul to a flagrant 2, they acknowledge the aggression, yet stop short of escalating tensions with suspensions. It signals that physicality is tolerated to a point, but visible intent and retaliation won't go unchecked. It's controversial, but consistent.
And I don't think any of this stuff with Sophie and JC would have happened at the end of the game if the refs would have gotten control of the game much earlier on. And I do think if they would have ejected Marina Mabrey during that whole play when she completely blindsided Caitlin, it wasn't a basketball play, it was after the whistle. If she would have been ejected at that point in time, I think it would have set the tone for the rest of the game. The refs did not have control over the players. They did not have control over the game for pretty much the entire game.
Rachel Anne-Marie didn't hold back when addressing the incident, and she's pointing fingers at the referees. According to her, none of the chaos would have erupted if officials had done their jobs from the start. She argues that Caitlin Clark had been taking hits all game with little to no calls in her favor. The tension had been building, and by the time JC Sheldon and Marina Mabrey went after Clark, it was already boiling over. Rachel says when refs failed to control the game, players are forced to police it themselves, and that's exactly what Sophie did. In her view, Sophie's actions were justified because the officials weren't protecting the league's biggest star. Had the referees made the right calls earlier, there wouldn't have been an ejection or fines. Instead, a lack of whistleblowing sparked a wildfire, leaving fans and players to deal with the fallout. As this moment fades into headlines and highlight reels, one thing's clear. Sophie Cunningham isn't just defending teammates, she's defending a culture shift. Do you think she did the right thing? And is Clark targeted purely out of racism? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss any news